Good evening, everyone. Alvin, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? Karen, how are you? Hello, Karen. Madrin, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Karen, are you okay? Okay,
Yes.
so how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. So as I had posted in the group, let us look at the introduction and the conclusion. So I realized that most of the assignment really work on those two. The content we do have, it is, I don't know, am I clear, members? Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I realize that the content is okay. The points are well elaborate, only that the introduction and the conclusion are lacking. So I wish to call upon us to fully participate, and we see that by the end of this lesson, we can all comfortably make a conclusion, and we can also make a comfortable introduction to any essay question. So I realized that, let's say that in the chat, I sent the questions that we're supposed to handle. We're supposed to have their introductions and their conclusions only. At least we handle 2, 3, or 4 questions, then we call it a day. So with Vivek, is question 1. Alvin, could you read question 1? Do you have the questions?
Yes,
Okay, could you read the question 1?
with vivid examples from your community, discuss the view that scientific elections or meetings and weddings is the way to go in Uganda.
Okay, thank you. So if I do not, if I remember very well, we handled this question with its introduction. Did we? Did we, members? Alvin, were you around when we handled that question?
Yeah, I was around. Yes, we did it.
Okay. Madrin and Apuch, do you remember the introduction to that question? Madrin? Madrin, do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we skip that. We go to the next. Apuch, could you read the next question?
Discuss the impact of the COVID-19 lockdown on the livelihood of Ugandans.
Okay, thank you. I request Madrin, because Madrin, you did this question, I request you to at least give us the introduction to this question. Could you try? Hello, Madrin?
Yes, please.
Yes. Could you try the introduction to that question?
COVID-19 has both positively and negatively affected the livelihood of Ugandans. COVID-19 lockdown has affected both positively and negatively and the livelihood of Ugandans.
Okay, is that all?
Yes.
Hapuch, do you have something to add on that?
No.
Okay, Alvin, do you have something to add?
No, sir.
Sorry?
No, I just have anything to add.
Okay, when you look at this question, especially Madrin and Hapuch, this question discuss the impact of COVID-19 lockdown on the livelihoods on the livelihood of Ugandans. First, as I told you earlier, that you are supposed to define the key terms. And could we please identify the key terms in this question? I do not need to call anyone. Once you are ready, you can say the answer. Which key terms do we have in this question?
Livelihood.
Livelihood 1.
Lockdown.
Lockdown 2. Alvin? Alvin?
COVID-19.
COVID-19. Thank you. So these are the three terms that we do need to define before we dive into the content of the question. So especially COVID-19 and lockdown, because initially we did not have the word lockdown and neither did we have COVID-19. So you need to give a brief background of COVID-19 and how did this COVID-19 bring about lockdown and how did this lockdown affect the livelihood of Ugandans. So what is COVID-19? Someone? Approach? Approach?
COVID-19 is a pandemic caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome. The novel virus was identified in Wuhan, China in December 2019.
Okay, thank you very much. Madrin, could you go? Madrin?
Yes, please. We have the
What? Sorry?
have no supplement.
You have no supplement. Okay, Alvin?
It is COVID-19 is an illness that affects the respiratory system. Yeah, that's what I can talk about.
Okay. So COVID-19 is, as you say, it is a disease that affects the respiratory system of human beings that started in Wuhan, China, in 2019. And so it has affected the whole world that has brought about a pandemic. So, okay, maybe in brief, you can state the simple symptoms and how it can be avoided, then before you go to defining the next term. So, you know, the symptoms may be hardship in breathing, general body weakness, sometimes they have nausea, maybe flu, dry throat, all that. So, of course, there are others how can we control it? Like, for example, regular hand washing with sanitizing now and then, keeping social and physical distancing, then wearing masks, avoiding gatherings, or leaving a distance of 2 meters between individuals. So that is COVID-19. And the other, what is lockdown? I start with you, Alvin. What's lockdown?
Pardon, please.
What is lockdown?
Lockdown. It's like whereby you confine people in an area okay, it's whereby you temporarily confine people in an area.
Okay. Approach. No, Madrin.
Lockdown is a situation where people in a certain area or country are seized from doing certain activities.
Okay, then approach. Approach.
Lockdown is a situation where people are temporarily avoided from
Now I'm waiting. Okay. Okay. Alvin.
social activities and many more.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Hapuch, for that. Then I call upon Alvin to tell me in just 1 minute to tell me or to tell us whatever he knows about coronavirus, given in relation to the Ugandan situation.
Okay. Okay, corona is a disease began in 2019.
Yes, you are off. Are you still speaking?
Sorry?
I didn't hear you. You reached somewhere and stopped.
Oh, okay. I was saying COVID is a disease that began in 2019 in around December. Started in China, Wuhan. Symptoms it has the common symptoms which are usually seen on people: fever, dry cough, tiredness, poor breathing, sore throat, such headaches. You lose your taste and smell, rashes on the skin. So it spreads. It's contagious, spreads through the air, can lead to death and yeah. So as per now, some few countries have been able to make vaccines. Other countries have also tried to purchase vaccines from other countries. So total cases are worldwide. We have about 219 million. Then that's 4.5 million. So the case of Uganda has 122, about 120,000 cases. Then deaths 3,099 deaths in Uganda. So that's what I can say as per now.
How can you control it?
What I can do controlled by use of mask sanitizing and using hand-based sanitizers, which can kill the virus. And to prevent its spread is by socially distancing people 2 kilometers away from each other and wearing masks. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So Uganda, we have 1,220 cases, and the death we have 3,099. That is Uganda. So that is the introduction. in other words, one, in the introduction, you're supposed to introduce COVID-19 and you give it, because the question says, the question is discuss the impact of COVID-19 lockdown on livelihood of Ugandans. So you're supposed to define and give facts about COVID-19 and lockdown in relation to Uganda, with examples from Uganda. So for example, you say, when did it enter Uganda? How can you give an example of people who died because of COVID-19? Can you give an example of vaccines that have been donated to Uganda? Can you give the example of professions that have been told to go for mandatory vaccination in a bid to control this COVID-19? And could you also talk about the measures that were taken, like the rules and regulations, the do's and don'ts when Uganda was put under lockdown by M7? How many lockdowns have we gone into so far? And like, for example, how many days? For example, we had the first was 42 days. No, it was 20 days. Then it went into 42 days. Then after 42 days, we were taken for 6 months. Then after that, schools opened, and they opened for only like they were from October up to April, May, up to May. And after May, the schools were locked down, and we went back to another lockdown. And the president talked after 42 days. And after those, rather, after, were they 22 days? After that, we were given 60 days. And now we are still running those 62 days. So you give a brief background of lockdown and COVID-19. So after giving that introduction, that is when you go into the body, and the body you all know. As I wish to thank Madrin, you did this question, and only that the reason as why I brought back this introduction and conclusion is that all your questions lack the introduction and they lack the conclusion. So when I asked you to give me the introduction at the beginning, you said like COVID-19 has affected the livelihoods of Ugandans both negatively and positively. That is not the introduction. That question, that is just an affirmative statement that tunes the reader's mind in to be ready to read what he expects. Because now, after saying COVID-19 has both positively and negatively affected the livelihood of Ugandans, it means I'm expecting to read about the positive impact and the negative impacts as well. So we got the conclusion. So the conclusion, as I told you, you restate or re-outline the points that you have given in the body. So for example, if you have given many businesses have fallen because of COVID-19 due to that too much lockdown, and the working hours have been reduced from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., sometimes to 3 p.m. Like border riders, they are supposed to go to work from 7 a.m. and go home at 2 p.m. in the first lockdown, but currently it is from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. So most people have gone out of business. So in the conclusion, it's supposed to say just like many businesses have closed because many businesses have closed. One, that is, we put a comma. Many people have lost their jobs, comma. Like you just list the points that you gave in the body, and you say there, thus, therefore, COVID-19 lockdown has much more affected Ugandan livelihood than any other life aspect that Ugandans have experienced before. Yeah. Okay. Was I clear on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go to question 2. Karen, you are reading? Question 2. Karen, question 3 rather. Karen? Is she on? Okay, Madrin.
Wait a moment.
Yes, Karen.
Assess the role and impact of the mass media in the fight against COVID-19.
Okay, thank you. So assess the role and impact of mass media in the fight against COVID-19. I start with you, Karen. Could you identify the terms that we are supposed to define in here?
Mass media.
Mass media, correct. The other is Madrin.
COVID-19.
COVID-19, thank you. Alvin, do you have any other? Alvin?
Maybe, or I think the fight.
Sorry?
I think there are no more. I think those are the ones.
There are no more. Okay. Thank you. So first, Madrin, what is mass media? Yes?
According to me, mass media is a way of reaching out or communicating to the public.
Okay. Karen?
Media are the different types of communication which direct you to a group of people at once.
Okay. Alvin? Alvin?
Mass media.
Yes?
Yeah, okay. Mass media. Mass media is where like you communicate to a large number of people at the same time. Yeah, at the same time.
Okay. Could you read what I sent in the chat?
In the chat, there's nothing about.
Mass media is communication, whether written, broadcast, or spoken, that reaches a large audience. This includes television, radio, advertising, movies, the internet, newspapers, magazines, and so forth.
Okay, thank you. So those ones, now currently you add media, because mass media is currently being taken over by social media. So under mass media, you can put maybe all the social media sites. Let it be. Could we actually, could we give at random the social media webs or sites that we know?
Instagram.
Let's start with Alvin. Alvin?
Teacher,
Okay.
Telegram.
Hey, Joel, how are you? Joel, you're saying Telegram? Alvin?
Yes.
What is WhatsApp?
Sorry?
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp? Hapuch?
Viber.
Okay, Madrin?
Instagram.
Instagram? Joel?
TikTok.
TikTok, okay. Alvin?
Twitter.
Okay, so all those that we know, maybe like the likes of LinkedIn, Snapchat, things like Telegram. We have, of course, you have said WhatsApp. Maybe you're saying TikTok, you can say Likey. Yeah. So Duo, even Duo. All,
Even Snapchat.
yes.
Even Pinterest. Is it Pinterest? 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 What?
Google Meet, Google is one of them because they are meeting, their emails. Yeah. So now, please, you put them in the introduction, like the definition that I sent in the chat, you can see it is compact, like it is enough for you to know what mass media is. It says mass media is communication, whether written, broadcast, or spoken, that reaches a large audience. This includes television, radio, advertising, movies, the internet, newspapers, magazines, and so forth. So of course, sometimes we are just mesmerized that I see, I have Alvin's number saved, and I have Joel's number saved. I know Alvin and Joel, they don't know each other, and I'm sure they have never met. But I check on Alvin's status, there's this status, and at the same time, the same status is on Joel's status. And I'm sure I know those two people do not know each other. Yeah. Something goes on TikTok today, and tomorrow everyone is posting about it. So that is mass media. So when we go to the question is, assess the role and impact of mass media in the fight against COVID-19. COVID-19, we have defined, Joel, we have defined the COVID-19. So because this is general, it has not stated the place that you're supposed to zero in. You can talk about mass media in the whole world, of any place that you wish to choose, and COVID-19 of any country that you wish to choose. So in the conclusion, assess the role and impact. So the role of mass media is dissemination of information. It has kept people busy, it has helped people understand. So like those. So then the impact is, when after giving all these, in the conclusion, you list down what the roles that you have given in the body. You list down the impacts that you have given in the body. Then that is the conclusion. So you say, in conclusion, mass media has contributed, has played a bigger part in the fight against COVID-19, because one rather has played a bigger role in the spread and fight against COVID-19. As discussed above, you list, then you go to another question. That is done. We got question 4. Joel. Joel.
Yes, teacher, I can hear.
Question 4. Could you read it?
Let me see here. What is question 4?
Do you have the questions, Joel?
Yes, teacher, I have them.
Okay, let me send them in the chat. Check in
Number
the
4
chat.
discuss the economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic around the world. The economic effects.
Go to approach. Approach.
Yes.
Could you give a brief understanding of this question?
Which one?
Yes.
Which question?
Question 4.
So,
Effects of COVID-19 pandemic around the world. So we have to give positive and negative effects.
Okay. Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Madrin, do you have something to add?
Yes.
Okay, please go.
Before we listen the positive and negative effects, we are going to first define the key terms, which is economy, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alvin? Alvin,
Yes, please.
you have something to say?
No, okay, no.
Okay, Joel?
Teacher, for me, according to what I see, we are going to first give the introduction and define the way how, and we give the brief background on the way how COVID-19 has affected the economic, or the economic, okay, organization of the economy of Uganda. So, and then later we shall describe only the part of economic, or of the economic of the economic organization, whereby we shall only talk about the things which bring in income. So here okay, according to me, I don't expect us to bring in the social effects, like the closure of religious places or places of worship, like that. We don't expect in political effects, like the very much. Teacher, like how I had prepared the number two. The impact of COVID-19 lockdown on the life of the Ugandans.
Okay, thank you. Alvin, could you read us a paragraph on the document that on the message that I have just sent on WhatsApp? Alvin, do you have access?
I can access it. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay, so it's about COVID.
Yes, please.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to, you know what?
Sorry.
Let me screen share so that everyone can see it.
Okay.
Okay, let me just read it. It's going to take away. COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to, you can hear me, guys?
Yes, we are.
Okay, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to the dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to the public health, food systems, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty, while the number of undernourished people, currently estimated at nearly 690 million, could increase by up to 132 million by the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. So that is an example of the effect, because when you talk about an effect, we mean something that has been brought in by a given circumstance, and that thing is likely to last longer than we think. For example, if I was working in a school, like currently now I'm here, I do not know when schools are open, and so that is an effect on me, because currently, even if I'm earning, I'm not earning as I used to. That is one. Two, even myself, even you, the Alvin, the Joel, Madrin, and Apuch, you are home, you are studying now. Do you know what is the fate? Do you know when schools will open? Do you know when you do exams? It means your education has been pushed forward. So it means everything is unprecedented. Most things cannot be predicted. So that is what we mean when we say, as the question states, like discuss the economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic around the world. You know, every factor can be an economic factor. For example, if the education sector has shut down, if they have closed the schools, it means this has an impact on the economic status, because in the near future, like 10, 15 years to come, there will be a gap, the elite gap in the country. A few people will have started because we are missing a year in between there. Even if you are employing, there is a year that will have to miss because it missed a year during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so the economy is affected that year will not produce educated citizens. Is that okay?
But teacher, can you accept that it can happen? Okay, we find that we have a year where we don't have like the candidate class, or they are okay, considering over like saying a dead year. Can it happen?
Yes, it can happen.
Sure. Teacher, even when you relate to these incidents, when you see these other books, when you see the past papers, there are some years like the 1998, the way how they related that there was the over smallpox. So you see where the papers were at least contradicting. Some of them used to do at the beginning and others used to do at the end. So it is end of what, the beginning was something like that. For me, according to me, I can't accept, or I can't allow. Okay, I can't believe that it can happen. Yes.
It can, it can, because one, look here, redirect you from this argument, because now given Joel, you may be having a child now. Do you have one?
What?
Do you have a child?
A child? Teacher, a child for what?
No, I just asked. The question needed just yes.
No.
No. But are you aware there are people who have given birth to kids?
I'm sure I'm aware. Yes.
So has the economic status not changed? Had they planned for that kid?
Somehow, somewhere, it depends on the type of a person. You find when a person rushed into things quickly. Okay, yeah, yes. About me.
A student.
A student.
Yes.
I know. Not it. No.
So that means in 20 years to come, the population of Uganda will double, or will grow at an unexpected rate, because there is like competition to give birth. You understand that?
Yes.
So, and that is an impact to the economic status of a country, especially Africa. Africa has got a challenge that in 15 years to come, there will be more people than we would have had if the pandemic had not come into play. Okay, we go to the next question. Okay, Madrin, you are reading next question 5.
To what extent is the global spread of COVID-19 a result of human error?
Okay, Joel.
Yes, teacher. So
could you give an example to that?
You told us when you are given like such a question, we have to choose. First of all, we have to choose a stand, either to a larger extent or at a lower extent.
Before you choose a stand.
Yes. So for me, if I choose a stand and I say COVID-19 has affected the human error on a larger extent, whereby.
No, Joel.
Yes.
Before you go to the stand, I need the introduction.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
So for me, I believe you have to first. No. I thought that you have to first give a stand in the introduction. Then you keep on rolling like that. Then brings.
Okay. I go to another person, then you'll understand it. Apuch.
Yes.
Could you give an introduction to that?
To what extent is the global spread of COVID-19 as a result of human error? COVID-19 has been spread due to very many reasons, human error being the major one. That's all I have.
Madrin,
Yes, please.
has she forgotten something?
Yeah. Human error. She has forgotten about human error. I would say the COVID-19. Then I would go and say
Madrin, to help you, could you read my message in the chat?
human error refers to something having been done that was not intended by the actor, not designed by a set of rules or an external observer, or that led the task or system outside its acceptable limits. In short, it is a deviation from intention, expectation, or desirability.
Okay, so we said in introduction, you're supposed to define the key terms. And here the key terms are COVID-19. We have already known what COVID-19 is. And the second key term is what is human error. So we have to define human error. Is that okay? Is that okay, members?
Yes.
Yeah, so after that, especially Hapuch had forgotten about this, and Joel, he had forgotten about this. So you're supposed to find the key terms, and then you go to giving your stand. So when you give a human error, the definition, you must first state, is it, how is COVID-19 a human error? Because we all know this virus escaped from a laboratory in China, Wuhan. So that is an error that, one, they were not supposed to tamper or to try by any means to create a virus. That is one. Two, they were not supposed, if they created the virus by mistake, they had to make sure that this virus does not escape from the lab where it was created. That's two. Three, when it escaped, China kept quiet, did not tell the people on time on how that China did not admit that the virus had started from its country. Three, people, after being told that this virus kills, people went on to see whether the virus really kills. So, like, for example, I didn't know that this virus exists until 2021, around March, when I started hearing my friends, the people I know had died, but now I'm not sure whether those people died of coronavirus. Yeah, that is human error. Human error is, as the definition states, something having done that was not intended by the actor. Yeah, I didn't intend to refuse that COVID-19 does not exist. And so in my own human error, COVID-19 caught me, and so I died. You understand that? Joel?
Yes, teacher, I can understand.
Okay, the other members, are we together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The conclusion, I do not need to talk about it now, because the conclusion is nearly the same. You just outline the points that you have given in the body, and that is all. Okay, it is 56 minutes. Is there any question on that?
So, teacher, for me, in all what you have said, everything that you have to do, we have to first define the subject.
Yes. You're supposed to first define the key terms in the question.
Before getting a stand.
Yes. Alvin, any question?
No, sir.
Hapuch and Madrin?
No.
Madrin?
No, I don't have one.
Okay, Hapuch?
No.
So may I beg to stop from here? May I?
Yeah.
Please, let's do these questions and send in. I'm going to mark, I have Madrin's 2 questions and Karen,
Teacher.
you said you sent me an email just before the start of the lesson, and I also have one assignment from Joel. Please, Alvin, send me some. Joel, send me some more. Puch and Karen also send me some more. With that, yes, please.
We are supposed to do all of these.
Do as many as you can, as I stated earlier.
Okay, teacher.
At least you know now you have added the introduction and the conclusion. Okay. Have a nice evening. Bye.